welcome to a brand new episode of Straight Up Sugar Podcast. I am your host, Calvin. I am riding solo today. Everybody's going through things; they're busy, but today is a very special day. And if you're out there, happy MLK Day, happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We want to thank Dr. King for all his contributions for the civil rights movement and for what he's done for this country and the world, making a change to have equal rights for people of color. So happy birthday and happy MLK, Dr. King. And today is a very somber, but I guess sad, but we're going to celebrate. It's sad because today is the 100th birthday of America's grandma, Betty White. She would have been 100 years old today. Man, like, wow, I can't believe she would have been 100. And she, unfortunately, if you had been living under a rock, Betty White did pass the last day of 2021, just about 18 days ago. She did not make it to her 100th birthday. But man, we were really hoping she made it to 100 because if you know anything about Betty White, she is a phenomenal woman. She is a pioneer in American cinema and American TV. She has done a lot of community work, and today we're going to celebrate her and her would have been her 100th birthday. Right now, we are streaming right now live on Facebook. If you all want to join us, make sure you tap in. Tell us your favorite Betty White moment, something that you love about Betty White, things like that. Just kind of give you a recap of who Betty White was. Man, she just was a phenomenal person. We won't be long today because I am short-staffed, so doing this by myself is kind of hard. But we will celebrate Betty White today. Just kind of looking back at what she's done to so much, and kind of giving you my story about Betty White. I first found out who she was because it was on Golden Girls, and I remember being at my grandma's house. And if you were ever around your grandparents, they either had I remember every weekend go to my grandma's house. She would watch Supermarket Sweeps, then she would watch Touched by an Angel, then it was like Nash Bridges, and then like on I think it was like PAX 21 or PAX TV. Then they had Golden Girls. It was on I think Golden Girls came on Lifetime. So it was Golden Girls and then PAX 21 TV. So I remember Golden Girls, and then there was let me see what is all the Golden Girl names I forgot. Is it it's Blanche, Dorothy, Sophia, and then Betty White's character was Rose. Is that right? I think so. Yeah, so it was Rose. So so that's when I first saw Betty White. My grandma introduced me to who she was. And she was very funny. She played I guess a ditzy character on that show. But today we're gonna give y'all some fun stats about Betty White, who she is, and kind of give you. She was actually born in Illinois. She was born on January 17th, 1922. Wow, man, Betty, why'd you have to go, Betty? Betty, man, she would have been 100 years old. She stated that Betty was her legal name, was not shortened for the version of Elizabeth, which is a character she played on a TV show. So she moved to California when she was just 1 year old, and then she got into during the Great Depression. Wow. She attended Horace Mann Elementary in Beverly Hills, graduated in 1932. She sparked a keen interest into family and wildlife, which, if you know Betty White, she's really big on animals and animal care. So she pursued an interest in writing, and then when she graduated from high school, things like that. Now, she got her first break. She said that she started off in TV in 1939, where she was a dancer on a TV show, but she's unable to find that clip. But after the World War, she made the rounds doing movies looking for work, but was turned down because she wasn't photogenic. So she looked for radio jobs that didn't require people to be photogenic. But that's kind of how she got her start in television. She says she cannot find this information. Wow, that's I would love to see her as a kid doing things. But um, so some interesting facts about Betty White. She currently holds the Guinness World Record for the longest TV career of a female has ever had on TV. Like I said, going back to 1939. Uh, right now, she is currently worth. Well, her estate is worth $75 million, according to Yahoo Finance. So, and that's something that she's really known for doing. So, we're going to have a little bit more about some fun stats and facts about Betty White. Make sure you stay tuned on the other side of the break. We have more. So, the happy birthday of Betty White. Rest in peace. May she rest in peace. Be her 100th birthday. Make sure you stay tuned. We're going to celebrate Betty all episode long. Make sure you stay tuned on the other side of the break.
Here at Straight Up, we know that all lives matter, but historical events have shown that there is an inverse power dynamic between the races in our country. To highlight this, we present our Black Lives Matter merchandise, because let's be real, some of you don't seem to understand that this isn't the organization, but a message. That message: end inequality towards minorities in America. And just in case that's too complicated for you in English, we have the phrase translated into 10 different languages. Visit StraightUpShowPodcast.com for this and all our other merch. That's STR8 showpodcast.com. Shirts as low as $19.99.
Up means to be able to.
The following announcement has been paid for by the Straight Up Show podcast.
You know, in the beginning, they told us we couldn't do this. At first, I believed them. Bigger guy, never been on TV, never done public speaking. But then we started proving people wrong. And all of a sudden, our voices were finally being heard. And yeah, we fell along the way. We lost our TV show, we lost our web series, but we never gave up. And when we lost everything, we heard them talking. But it was you. You told us you wanted us to come back. Somehow, some way, you wanted us to come back. And we even went scripted. Now, don't get me wrong, scripted pays the bills, but it doesn't tell your story. It doesn't tell our story, a story that goes beyond a minute and 30 seconds. And now, we got this podcast, and of course we have those naysayers that say that we should stop what we're doing and that our show is too controversial and that we should just give it all up. But guess what? That's not us. We keep moving. We keep evolving because that's who we are. And we can brag, right? Heard in 51 countries, syndicated, phenomenal guests. I think we can brag a little bit, right? And we don't look for vindication or acceptance because we hear you. Whether it be negative or positive, we hear you. But guess what? We're taking over. And we invite you to join us, to sit at the table with us so we can have these conversations that nobody else is having. So the question is, will you join us? Because like I said before, we're taking over. See you soon.
Sultan Salahuddin from Southside Season 2 out right now. Make sure you tune in to the Straight Up Show podcast because that's where it's happening. You dig?
All right, so we're back with the Straight Up Show podcast. This is a tribute episode to Miss Betty White. She's no longer with us right now. She passed away back on December 31st, 2021. Sorry, the last day before 2022. We were hoping, I think the world was hoping that she made it to 100, but unfortunately she did not. Comedian Lil Duval, which Betty White was a comedian, so this may sound like a bad joke, but Lil Duval stated that God must have showed Betty White something that's going to happen in 22, and Betty was like, I can't make it. I'm out. But they've been pretty sure Betty would have found that funny because she was so in tune with the culture about this. So today we're going to give back and give her tribute to somebody that was the world's grandma. Fun fact, if you all did not know, Betty did not have any children of her own. I didn't know this. I know that she was married 3 times, and according to one of her friends, her first husband was Alan Lundy, Luden, I think that's his last name. And they say that her last words was Alan, which is her first husband. So that's one of her closest friends said that her last words were the first name of her husband, her first husband. But if you're listening right now, we are on Facebook Live. We are pre-recording this episode so when you hear it, this is the day of Betty White's birthday. It's also MLK Day as well. So with that being said, we do have Facebook comments right now. Like I said, I found out about Betty White through Golden Girls, but there are people who are older than me, not trying to dig at them, but people who have experienced Betty White as kids because she's 99, so she's lived a long time. But one of our supporters of the show, Lori, says that she's watched Betty White on several shows. I watched her on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and that the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and she played a character named Sue Ann very well. I wasn't fond of her. That's what her character was like. She was smart mouthed, somewhat slutty, and not likable. Betty really did a good character justice. I would see her in different variety shows. Also enjoyed her on Golden Girls as Rose. Rose was naive yet strong. Every now and then she would show you how smart she was. Betty White could play characters that would make you believe that was her in real life. I appreciate Betty White's spunk. This is especially as she gotten older. I think that's kind of how it is. Like, I think that's what people really related to her about how spunky she was and how relatable she was and how she was able to keep up with the culture. And I think that's kind of what she was big on. She was able to keep up with the culture. And with Betty, she had a lot of issues about social justice and things like that, making sure that people had equal rights, especially when it came to civil rights in the LGBT community in America. So I remember that I didn't know this, that Betty White caused an issue back in 1954 when she had her own show. It was a time during segregation. America had its issues. There was a dancer named Arthur Duncan. He was featured on the Betty White show that aired in the 1950s. And when she was encouraged to take him off because he was a black man in America, and Betty refused to do so. Even according to an article, I'm sorry, but you guys know he stays. And this is according to our PBS biography that she did. And so it was like she stayed. She went on to say, I was on the show and they had some letters out of Mississippi and somewhere else that some of the stations would not carry the show if I was permitted to stay on there, if he was permitted to stay on there. But she said that she fought for him, and there's video of him actually talking to him about keeping Arthur on the show, no matter what the color of his skin was. So that was definitely a big reason why she does resonate not only in the American culture but Black culture as well, because she's able to fight for those rights and about just justice. And so also she was really big on the LGBT community about fighting for their rights as well. There was a very controversial episode of the Golden Girls where they addressed LBTG. I get so confused saying it. The LGBTQ plus community, and she was like, this is something that they have to talk about on the show. Now, with the Golden Girls, she started as Rose, as we stated before, and the Golden Girls, which I seriously have not watched the Golden Girls as an adult, so I don't understand a lot of what they said or what they talked about, but I need to go back and watch it. But there was a lot of issues addressed on the Golden Girls, things about HIV and AIDS, which was really big in the 80s. And one episode that really kind of caught some flack was about their gay and lesbian episode, about there's some gay characters on the show. They said that it was really bold of them to do that. They clearly supported the LGBT community for equal rights in that community. So they really wasn't to speak out about it. Betty White went on to say that she didn't understand people's qualms with marriage equality and gay rights. She said that I don't understand. It's such a personal and private business. It doesn't matter who you love. Love is love. And so she went on to say in the most Betty White way, she says, listen, I'm 91 at the time. I'm 91 years old. I've been around the block. Okay. I've seen a lot of things and done one or two, and I know a few things, not much, but some. I just want to say to all the judgmental people out there, if two people in love want to get married, let them get married. So that was kind of one thing she said out, not only for Black rights, but also LGBT community rights as well. So I think that's kind of one of the reasons why she's so loved in America. And I feel like that if anybody can say anything about Betty White, she was definitely one of America's grandma. All right, so I'm reading back what Lori just said. She said that if I can remember, Blanche's brother was the one that was gay, and she found out their brother was gay. Yeah, okay, that was it. You're right. Okay, so some more fun facts about. I didn't know she was a dancer either, Lori. But what? Some more fun facts about Betty White. She loved parades, and according to actually today on her birthday in New Orleans, they're gonna hold a second line for Betty White, which I would, if you guys are out there right now listening, tune into that. A second line for Betty White in New Orleans. That is phenomenal. And if you're not familiar with the Louisiana culture, they embrace and kind of celebrate death and kind of dance you around because your life is to be celebrated. So what better way to celebrate Betty White by doing a second line in honor for Betty White? So if you're out there, make sure y'all look for that. That's pretty cool for the people in New Orleans. But she loved parades, so she would love her second line. They said on the Mary Tyler Moore Show that she loved parades, and that she would do color commentating for different parades like Macy's Parade, and things like that. Another fun fact: she was married 3 times. 3 times, Betty. And I know a lot of this stuff is not appropriate, but when I say that she's so well known in the culture, they always post a GIF or a picture of Betty White, and it's not funny at all. We'll take this serious, but when they post a GIF about an active shooter, they post a picture of Betty White because they say the captions say, if I hear about a mass shooter, and they say the quote's supposed to say, I bet he white, but it says Betty White, and it's so it's strange things like that in a culture on social media that people are relating this to Betty White, and it's not right at all. But that's one of the things that people loved about Betty White, and it's crazy to know that she loved like so much wrong foods and stuff like that. So here's Betty White on the Letterman Show about 10 tips of living a healthy life.
Number 10.
Get at least 8 hours of beauty sleep. 9 if you're ugly.
Doesn't hurt to go that extra hour. Number 9.
Exercise. Or don't. What the hell do I care?
Doesn't make it either. You don't have a dog in this fight. Number 8.
Never apologize. It shows weakness.
That's right. Number 7.
The best way to earn a quick buck is a slip and fall lawsuit.
Number 6.
Avoid tweeting any photos of your private parts.
Number 6. Number 5.
Schedule a nightly appointment with Dr. Johnny Walker.
Yeah, buddy. Number 4.
Take some wheatgrass, soy paste, and carob. Toss in the garbage and cook yourself a big-ass piece of pork.
Number 3.
Try not to die.
Exactly. Number 2.
Never dwell on past mistakes. Especially you, LeBron.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And The number one Betty White tip for living a long and happy life.
Don't waste your time watching this crap.
That's so great to hear about those tips about living. One thing I didn't know about Betty White, that she was a dedicated Democrat. She was a very well-known Democrat and vocal about it. During her years, she endorsed Franklin D. Roosevelt, John F. Kennedy, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, and most recently, Barack Obama. And actually, when she met Barack Obama, they said that she spent the whole time talking to Obama with their dog, Bo, may he rest in peace, on their lap. So that just goes to show she loves animals so much. But she played with Barack Obama. But I didn't know she was a dedicated Democrat. That's crazy. Now, another interesting fact that I did not know about is that she and B. Arthur, that played Dorothy on Golden Girls, they didn't like each other. While Betty White did reflect fondly of the Golden Girls being on the show, wasn't it all funny at times? Sometimes the women on the show really went after each other, and it appears that no feud was more quiet than the one about her and B. Arthur. They basically had different acting philosophies and butted heads over a variety of habits during the long hours of filming, and including White's tendency to chat with live audience during filming breaks. Betty White said that she found me a pain in the neck sometimes, and it was my positive attitude that made B. Arthur mad, because she was happy, I was happy, and she'd be furious. And B. Arthur's son commented on behalf of her during the interview, said that unknowingly carried the attitude that it was fun to have somebody angry at me. Her son also said that it may have begun the rift at White's Emmy nomination for her role on the show. While all the women went on to win an Emmy for their golden roles on Golden Girls, B. Arthur's son said, "My mom was the real deal. I think that she felt she was more of an actress than Betty White. My mom came from Broadway. Betty started on a game show at one point." And that's true. Another fun fact about Betty White, she had no acting experience at all. She actually started as a call girl, not what you think a call girl is, but a different kind of call girl in the 1930s. So she doesn't come back from an acting background. So I can see how some serious actors, but I didn't know that those two were really button heads. But that goes to show you how Betty White was always able to engage with the audience during filming. So that's pretty cool that she gave back. But I can kind of tell, looking at, even as a kid, not knowing about Golden Girls, how B. Arthur was kind of mean at some point. I just thought she was always mean. So Lori, I don't know if you're watching this right now, but for those who don't know, who are fans of the Golden Girls, she actually was an audition for the role of Blanche, not Rose at first. Apparently, producers of the series thought White for the role a similar promiscuous party girl because she long played the lusty Sue Ann, which Lori referenced on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. But Rue McCallaghan actually got the role of Blanche, and Betty White got the role of Rose, which we all know and love. And another fun fact, Betty White said that if she had not been an actress, she would have been a zookeeper, because she does have her entertainment level. She loved having a love of animals. I'm really butchering this stuff because I'm not used to being scripted, but definitely she said she'd have been a zookeeper because she loves animals. So if you don't know anything about, and actually if you're out there listening right now, Betty White, if you're on social media right now, there is a Betty White challenge going on. And part of that Betty White challenge is today for her birthday, you take $5 and donate it to an animal shelter or an animal nonprofit organization. So once again, some more interesting facts about Betty White. She actually wanted to be an opera singer. I know that she could sing, and even as there's a for those in the community, like there is a video of her and Nick Cannon singing, and she's playing the piano. So I thought that was pretty cool of her as well. If it wasn't for Betty White, there would be no Barbara Walters. So Betty White once turned down an offer to be the Today Show co-host, which led Barbara Walters to get the job. Betty White said that she didn't want to live on the East Coast. NBC wanted to give Betty White so much that the network offered to give her an apartment at the St. Regis Hotel so she could fly back to California each weekend. But Betty White said that didn't seem practical, so the job went to Barbara Walters, who we all know and love. So this is another fun fact about Betty White. Betty White once performed 58 live advertisements in a day. Wow, that's a lot. Another fun fact for you Kardashian fans, Betty White was not a fan of the Kardashians. She hated reality TV. She said that she's not a fan of reality TV at all, and one of the shows that she did not like was Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Oof. And that makes two of us. No dig at the Kardashian family, but. And so another fun fact before we wrap all this up for our tribute show to Betty White, a couple more facts about her is that she preferred to be around animals instead of humans, which, you know, if I could be, I would too. Even last year, Betty White, another fun fact about Betty White, she lived to be 99 years old, 18 days before her 100th birthday. But they said that Betty White used to pig out. Her constant diet was vodka and hot dogs. That she loved to eat vodka, hot dogs, chips, ice cream, and French fries daily. So how crazy is that? She's 98 years old, or 99 years old, and she was just on there. So, man, there's so much about Betty White that we know and love. I can go on and on. She was known as the oldest host ever to host SNL, and her spot on the TV Land's Hot in Cleveland was supposed to be a one-time role, but she ended up being a regular character on that show, making it as funny as it was. Acting, her last acting appearance was at the age of 97. Wow, acting until the age of 97. I think her and Cicely Tyson were tied to both for the longest acting accolades. I have them acting titles. So, man, this is a lot. I know this is a different kind of style of show for us, but man, I cannot go on without celebrating Betty White because she is a pioneer. For so many of you all that are new to Betty White, man, you probably only know her for commercials or the old lady that's saying like vulgar things and saying "What's up, my homies" and stuff like that. But it's so great to see people like her, who was a staple in our community in America. Which I keep saying that she was always America's grandma, and I think her and Bill Russell. They kind of, if you don't know Bill Russell, he's a NBA legend, but they kind of remind me the same way. They're just themselves. And I think that's kind of what Betty leaves, is that she is somebody that encourages you to be yourself. And so, and I got another course from Tiffany, a Facebook comment from Tiffany. I've always loved her role. She never seemed stuck up or too good, always down to earth. She was also an advocate for inclusivity. So yeah, you're right, Tiffany. She did. She was just like that for this role. So yeah, Betty White, and she was definitely a staple into this country. I think that not knowing what's going to happen in the near future, but I think that she should maybe get a national day for her because she is definitely somebody that kind of brought laughs to people. Never was, like Tiffany said, never seemed to be stuck up. Probably would talk to you, and I think that's why she was able to resonate not only with the general American audience, but the Black audience, the different cultures, the LGBT community. Like, I think that's why she was so loved and beloved, because she just seemed so authentic and real. So if you're out there, make sure you celebrate Betty White's birthday today, whether you want to take a shot of vodka, eat some hot dogs, chips, or do the Betty White challenge, which is donate $5 to one of the animal shelters or animal assistance program out there in honor of Betty White. So with that being said, Betty White, we want to thank you so much for all you contributed to this country and to the world. And we want to most importantly say thank you for being a friend. All right, guys, that's the end of our show. I want to thank you so much for joining us for this short edition of Straight Up Show podcast. Make sure you come back. We're going to have more laughs, more fun. If you are interested in some of our merchandise, we have new merch out right now. You can go to our website at straightupshowpodcast.com. That's STR number 8. Dang, I can't do it now. That's the STR number 8 UP Show Podcast. to support us. You also can go support us on our Patreon page. Lori is one of our key contributors on our Patreon page. You get different perks and different things that you can get, free merchandise if you want it. On our Patreon page is at patreon.com/Podcast 318. That's patreon.com/Podcast 318. Until then, there's only one rule to our show. You gotta be straight up. Y'all take care. Happy birthday, Betty White.
Do you fear leaving the planet?
Oh, no. Oh,
Come on,
I look forward.
I fear it.
Oh, I don't. I'm so curious. We all know everything about everything. My mother taught me this. We know the answers to everything, or we can find out the answers. But the one thing we can't find out is what happens that moment after.
You can think, you know.
You can
or you
think,
can,
you know.
You can have faith.
You can be religious. You can all those things, but you don't know for certain. I just find it fascinating. I'm curious. And the older I get, the curiouser I get.
But what if it's nothing?
What if it's nothing? I won't know that.
You can't lose on that.
It's a win-win situation.